On November 19, 1863, Abraham Lincoln got up to speak, and what he said, well, it would change everything. His speech was incredibly short, incredibly powerful, and it completely reframed the American Civil War. So how'd he do it? Let's get into it.
It all starts with this number, 272. That's how many words are in the entire Gettysburg Address. Lincoln delivered the whole thing in about 2 minutes. So you have to wonder, right? How could a speech that short become one of the most important in all of history? How did 272 words literally redefine a nation?
Well, the magic is all in the structure. It's how Lincoln builds his case, step by step. And what's so brilliant is that he doesn't start on the battlefield at all. No, he takes us way, way back, all the way to the very beginning.
He kicks things off with this incredibly famous line. It sounds almost like something out of the Bible, doesn't it? 7 years ago. Right away, you just feel the gravity of it. It gives the whole thing this epic historical weight, instantly tying that moment to the nation's origin story.
But this isn't just some fancy old-timey language. A score is just 20 years. So 7, that's 87 years. And if you do the math, 1863 minus 87, you land smack dab in 1776. This is huge. Lincoln is deliberately bypassing the Constitution and pointing everyone's attention directly to the Declaration of Independence.
And this is the ideal he's laser-focused on. He's making the argument that the United States was founded on this single, pretty radical idea. And by doing that, he completely changes the conversation. The Civil War is no longer just a fight over territory or states' rights. No, he frames it as a battle for the very soul of the nation.
Okay, so after he's established what the nation stands for, Lincoln pivots right to the crisis at hand, the Civil War itself. And he frames it as a profound test.
And check out what he does here. It's so clever. He raises the stakes through the roof. It's not just about whether the United States is going to survive. It's a test for any nation anywhere that's built on liberty and equality. He's basically telling the audience that the entire world is watching, that the very future of democracy is on the line. Now, we have to remember the setting here. He's not at some political rally. He's speaking at the dedication of a cemetery for the thousands of soldiers who had died just months earlier at the Battle of Gettysburg. I mean, you can imagine the mood. It's incredibly somber, incredibly heavy. And right then, he makes this brilliant rhetorical turn. He was invited there to dedicate the ground, and what does he do? He says it's impossible, that he and everyone else there simply can't do it. And that powerful repetition, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow, it just builds and builds to his main point.
And this is where he draws that sharp contrast between words and actions. He downplays his own speech, literally saying people won't remember it, all to elevate the sacrifice of the soldiers. It's this incredible act of humility that, paradoxically, makes his words absolutely unforgettable.
His point is that the true dedication has already taken place. It wasn't done with words from a politician. It was done with the blood and the bravery of the men who fought on that very field. Their actions consecrated that ground far more than any ceremony ever could.
This brings us to the third and final act of the speech. After honoring the past and the sacrifice of the present, Lincoln turns his focus to the future and delivers this powerful call to action.
And here, the responsibility just shifts. This speech is no longer about remembering the dead with a memorial. It's about honoring them with commitment. The burden is now on the living. It's up to them to pick up the torch and continue the fight for those very same ideals. And he doesn't leave it vague either. He gives them a clear 3-part mission. He tells the audience to become more devoted to the cause, to make a firm resolution that this sacrifice will not be for nothing, and to push toward that ultimate goal.
And that ultimate goal, well, this is what truly cements the speech's legacy. It's not just about winning the war. It's not even about preserving the Union as it used to be. It's about creating something new.
That phrase, a new birth of freedom, is transformative. Lincoln is suggesting that this terrible war is a chance to purge the nation of slavery and finally, truly, rededicate it to the idea that all men are created equal. The country that emerges will be a better, truer version of itself.
And then he brings it all home with this immortal line, maybe the most powerful definition of democracy ever uttered. This is the whole point. It's the reason for the sacrifice and the promise for the future. It's the idea that was being tested and the idea that absolutely must endure.
So there you have it.
In just 272 words, Lincoln connected the ideals of 1776 to the sacrifice on the battlefield, and he laid out a vision for a renewed nation. And by calling it the unfinished work, he passed that responsibility not just to his audience, but to every single generation that came after. Which, of course, leaves us with a pretty big question. What does that unfinished work look like for us today?